Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Jab Cross Hook. Myself, Iain Kaplan, Reed Wallach here to talk some MMA, some UFC. We took last week off, so we are back after a week-long hiatus, after a week-long UFC hiatus as well. So we got a jam-packed show today. Gonna just talk some general stuff that we kind of missed since we haven't had a show since 2 weeks ago. We are going to have on a special guest, Ben Tynan, heavyweight who fights for LFA, who is fighting on this weekend's LFA card. And then, of course, we are going to have our UFC bet draft for UFC Vegas 55, is it?
56.
That is 56?
That was my mistake. I just corrected it. It's 56.
56. I wrote it incorrectly in the tweet, but that's okay. It's I mean, who really keeps track of those?
The fans aren't keeping track either. So
UFC on ESPN, UFC on ESPN Plus, this and that. I don't think anyone matters to anyone.
No. And that is the main event is a heavyweight fight between Alexander Volkov and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So we will end the show with that. But as always, let's start off the show with what we are drinking. Are you two drinking anything?
Yes.
I am. We stay true to the show.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not.
All right, so we'll make up for it.
All right. So, yes, you need to drink two for me. So start with you, Reed. What are you drinking? You just took for a beer from the community fridge again or what?
No community fridge. I did stop by the bodega. Bodega man recommendation. Allagash triple. Spelt a little interesting. We're going to triple? I don't know.
That's a Canadian way to spell it.
Okay. Triple and
really?
Canadian.
Oh, okay.
I believed you. I totally believed you. All right, well, let's go. I have had an Allagash before, so hopefully it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Your typical beer.
Rated out of 10.
Nothing special.
Rated out of 10. What is it out of 10?
Like a 7.3. So above average, but nothing to call home about.
Nice.
All right. Amy, what are you drinking?
Okay, well, I'm not drinking anything alcoholic because I've begun my training to become the best mixed martial artist in the world. So I got to drink water, but I put some energy fizz in it. It's peach mango flavor. It's actually really good. So I'm trying to keep my water intake going. So I'll maybe sipping this throughout.
Yes,
It's not pee, I promise.
We are going to talk about that in a second. When I said I wasn't drinking, I meant I'm not drinking anything alcoholic. So, Reed, you need to have 3 beers during the show. One for myself, one for Amy. I am drinking. I got a coffee. I got to go to the gym tonight. So, similar vein as Amy. Probably not a good idea to have drink liquor and then go to the gym. So,
or you just could sweat off the beer you drank right away. Quick access, get it right off.
If I have one beer, I'm not going to the gym, and I'm going to be drinking another 7. So. I know myself too well. I'm going to get ahead of that. Wednesday night, I usually take that night off. I didn't work out Monday, so my schedule got all screwed up this week. But speaking of working out, speaking of training, Amy, I think you alluded to it on the last show 2 weeks ago. But since then, you have sent out a tweet making the official announcement. So give us the details. You are training, and I think it's going to result in a fight at some point.
We'll see. That's the goal. Yeah, I'm doing a 20-week intensive training program, 5 days a week, an hour and a half each day. 2 UFC level coaches, both have fought in the UFC. It is so much more intense than I thought it would be, but at the same time, it's also easier than I thought it would be in some aspects. There were about 40 of us to start. I think there's about 12, 13 now. This is third day of week 2. I think I wrote a little bit about it on FanSided, but the main takeaway was that the first week they really just wanted to see who was going to quit. So they pushed us to our limits. I did things I didn't think I could do. One thing that I was it was kind of cool was they had this little box you could stand on, but it was made it was sand. So you would run in place on this box like you were running in the sand. So it's just little things like that are very, very hard to do over time for lengths of time. But yeah, I've gotten through everything so far. I haven't quit yet. Haven't puked yet. There have been a few that have puked. I have not. So hope I keep that streak alive.
I'm a big puker when I work out too hard. I did Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu for a couple of years, and I definitely puked probably 4 or 5 times over those 2 years. So
the key is,
I'm not a puker. Amy, are you? Okay.
Yeah, I did it one time. But the key, and I realized that the difference that one time was I came later at night, after, you have your whole day of eating and whatever. And it was also really hot at the gym. There was the most people I think I've ever seen in the gym. We're doing this at 7 a.m. every morning.
No.
So, I just don't eat yet. There's been a couple of the guys that like learned that lesson the hard way. They had breakfast and then went to the gym. You just don't eat, do it early in the morning, get it out of the way, and then you're safer when it comes to puking.
And how many people are in this program? Like, is it a big group, small group? And you said they wanted to weed people out.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't want to weed people out, but they wanted to like their goal was that they wanted to show you could do it. Like they wanted to be really hard on you so that you knew that you could make it. Because they kept saying to us, we want to see you, we want to make you quit, but we know you won't. Like we want to see you make that decision. I'm not going to quit. And there were definitely some times where people were laying on the ground. Like we just didn't think we could do it. Started out at 40 people. I think it's about 13, 14 people now. There's 3 women. The rest are men, varying ages, varying sizes, varying skill levels. And it's really fun. I'm so glad I'm doing it. So we'll see if I make it 20 weeks.
Yeah, when I train Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, I've gotten super good shape because it's just such a good way to work out too. Because it's better than just running on a treadmill like I'm doing now. I hate my life when I do that. It's fun. Right.
That's the thing. Yeah, I'm learning something and I'm having fun, like being able to use things that I see in fights, or I've heard like, oh, this is how you do a guillotine or whatever. So it's like fun, fun stuff. We're doing grappling, we're doing wrestling. Wrestling was something I never really knew how to do. So we did some double leg takedowns yesterday. That was really fun. So yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome.
So now going like into this weekend's UFC card, are you like potentially going to like look at anything, techniques you learned obviously at a higher level, but like, do you think you're almost getting like a new appreciation for these UFC fighters?
I mean, for sure. And especially because I know that like, how hard it is for me. And I know they're going 15, 20,000 times harder than I am. And I want to die. And I know like it's totally different because they're used to it. That's their life. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some appreciation of like, wow, I only had to do that one time a day. They go into the gym 3 times a day and do that, and probably for 3 hours each time, not an hour and a half. So, it's definitely an eye opener for sure.
All right, let's dive into some MMA news here. To be honest, I've been headfirst into the NHL playoffs, so I haven't been as caught up on MMA and UFC stuff the past couple weeks. So fill me in here, Amy. I understand. I think I actually did see this. There's a KSW, is it a strongest man guy who fought? Tee this up for us, and I think we have the clip to watch it as well.
Yeah, let's show the clip if we have it ready.
Pudzian, ale też odpowiedział ci Pao. Szuka dołów Michał Materla, to jest jego sposób na... Cios podbródkowy, odciął zasilanie materii. Pudzian jest zawodnikiem MMA na pełen etat. Tu nie ma żadnych wątpliwości. I to przecież Michał miał nokautować podbródkowy w pierwszej rundzie, a chyba w ten sposób, już teraz nie pamiętam, zakończył to starcie. Pudzian, co tu się wydarzyło? Przecież to jest niemożliwe.
That's a scary man.
Yes.
So I used to watch The World's Strongest Man, like back when it was on like ESPN2, like at like late at night, right before bed. Me and my dad would watch it and stuff like that. Marcin Pruszynovsky was a legend of The World's Strongest Man. I had no idea he was, now in like the MMA world. But yeah, I mean, he is an absolute monster. But like, if you want to really learn about this guy, go back and watch his ESPN, World's Strongest Man stuff, because he's a legend. I believe he won like 5 World's Strongest Mans or something. I'm going to look it up while you guys talk
That's
about
crazy because like I didn't actually know he was legitimately World's Strongest Man. Like I thought that was just like his nickname. I didn't know that he was like legitimately a World's Strongest Man competitor. I guess that makes sense. I didn't know a lot about his backstory, but yeah, he's so scary, but he's also like a very nice guy, I hear, like very polite and I don't know. But like who accepts a fight with a man that looks like that?
The only thing I could focus on during that clip was, do those guys have advertisements tattooed on themselves?
They haven't painted, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that crazy? That's cool. Like imagine that in the UFC. Like I don't know,
UFC would never allow it.
Condom,
let's be honest.
ad on something. Yeah. Just crazy.
He won 5 World's Strongest Mans. Oh, so I was right there. 02, 03, 2005, 2007, 2008. Came in second twice. Was DQ'd once in 2004 for God knows what. But yeah, I mean, this guy's a legend of the world's strongest man. I don't know if they still do it, but it was on ESPN all the time, way back when.
Also, shout out to KSW, probably the most underrated fight promotion in the world. A lot of like the top East Europeans who fight in the UFC now started their professional career at KSW. So I used to watch a little bit of KSW.
I would love to go out to Poland and watch a fight. That's where it is, right? I think it's Poland. And watch.
I think it's just East Europe. I think some are in Russia. I think some are in Poland. Yeah.
Because the owner of KSW came out to Vegas like a few years back, and I interviewed him, and we talked for a long, long time, and he was just so excited. Like at that time, we talked about maybe going out and seeing some fights and covering it out there. And of course, the pandemic hit, and that turned everything upside down. But I would love to get out there and see that, because there's every promotion has like their own unique way of doing things, and it's really different to see them all in person, especially just even the way they work with how they interact with the media too. It's just so different everywhere. I'd love to check that out.
That was a packed house. That was a packed house. Like people were like, definitely. That was like a legit show there.
Yeah, definitely. Their show always looks really fun.
Let's switch over to some UFC news. Not good news out of Brazil, I guess. Paulo Costa allegedly, I should say, elbowed a nurse over a vaccine card. I think people have just kind of brushed it over as just being, that's just classic Paulo Costa being weird, but also it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess if you haven't heard about it, basically the details are that allegedly he went to a mall or shopping center to get the vaccine. They tried to administer the vaccine and he refused it. I don't know if that's true. He refused it, tried to leave with the card that said he had it. And the nurse was trying to say, you can't have the card if you didn't get the vaccine. His story is that he was leaving and she grabbed his arm and he went back. Her story is that he elbowed her. There was a weird statement put out today from somebody in his legal team or something. And the statement made absolutely no sense. It didn't clarify anything, but it was like, we're trying to clarify things. It just made things worse. So I don't know. It's all, I think I want to believe that maybe it was an accident, but yeah, you just never know, Paulo. It's like,
he's always in like random, like stuff like this, like stuff that doesn't really make sense for anyone.
Right.
I'm over Paulo Costa. I'm
I agree.
Does he have a fight scheduled?
He does. It was pushed to August. So he had originally had one, I think, in July. Now it's pushed to August. Not because of the elbow, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, he's a fun one. I remember the last media day we were anxiously awaiting to see if he was going to show up on weight. There was obviously that whole weight thing. He showed up with a lunch bag carrying his food, and we were just like, come on. I mean, it was like we were joking that he was out having lunch, and he came in with like his to-go bag. So we're like, yeah. He's just a character. He's fun to have around, but I could give or take. Yeah.
Other UFC news, Conor and Jorge went at it. I did not see this. Do we have I didn't even see this tweet. Do we have this tweet if we can bring it up? Because I haven't seen it. Jorge Masvidal says, this pea brain is the biggest fight of your life, so you're either too scared or too stupid to get this check.
Yeah, so it started with Conor. I don't think he called him a pea brain. He called him something else close to a pea brain. Basically was saying like he wasn't going to fight him. And then Jorge was like, well, you're stupid if you don't fight me. I kind of love the fight. I feel like it makes a lot of sense for both of them. It would be a big, exciting fight. And oh my God, imagine the trash talk between the two of them. Like it would be phenomenal. I would love to see that fight.
I think that's the biggest fight either of those guys could make right now, and the one that makes the most sense, because neither guy's going to wrestle the other guy. They're both going to stand up. They're probably similar points in their career where they're a little bit past their prime, but obviously they still have the pull. The only other fight that I think McGregor could do that might be bigger would be the Nate Diaz 3, but I think Masvidal might even be bigger at this point. So I love it. I've been saying for the past year or so that these two should be fighting. So we'll see.
Yeah, they both don't really have they're kind of like nomads almost in the UFC. They're kind of like there, but they're not actually there. They're kind of just hanging around. So it makes sense. Like, might as well just throw them out there. It's not like they're
fun.
Yeah, it's not like they're necessarily contending. I mean, maybe Conor could just throw himself into the lightweight contention because he's Conor, but in reality, neither of the two are actually, working towards anything. They're just both above the sport almost.
And it'd be a close fight. I don't know right now who I would pick to win.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing too, is like I wouldn't know. And I think that's why it's exciting, because it's not one of those gimme fights for either one. It would be a legitimate fight. It's not a, like, I don't want to say that Conor and Dustin again would be a gimme fight, but it's definitely one where like probably Dustin's going to win. You can
No, for sure.
But like, him and Jorge, it's like, it's something you haven't seen yet. Number one, it's something new. And yeah, it's hard to predict how it would go. We need more of those fights.
Going up in class too, Conor. I know he like walks around bigger, but he's typically a lightweight, was a featherweight. So, this would be a new challenge for him. I think it makes a whole ton of sense.
Yeah. Come on, Conor, get with the program.
Reed, who do you think would win? I'm just quickly trying to see if I can find any, because I know some places they'll like set odds for a potential fight.
Yeah.
So while I'm looking it up really quick, tell me who you think would win.
I'd probably take Conor, just because like I never bought into like the Masvidal like legit stuff. I thought he was always kind of like a gimmick more than anything. But like I guess nowadays like Conor's kind of a gimmick, right? Like when's the last time Conor's actually performed well? So I would probably say Conor at first gut feel, like I just said. But like the more I think about it, I would like, who do you even lie as a favorite? Because Masvidal, it would probably be at his weight class. He would have the size advantage, but Conor's probably the more complete fighter. But like if Masvidal knocked him out, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, like Conor hasn't really proven to be anything. Is there like a hypothetical lineup?
I couldn't find it. No, there are some for McGregor, none with Masvidal though.
Well, let's get on that. I would put my money on Masvidal probably.
Okay.
I think I'd go McGregor.
I think Conor would be favored.
Yeah, I think so too.
It'd be an interesting fight for sure.
That's why I put money on Masvidal. You know me and my underdog.
Yeah,
it's true. All right, we are going to get back to this in a little bit, but our special guest is in the green room ready to join us. Ben Tynan with LFA fighting this weekend against Trevor Wallace, a big heavyweight fight. He is 1-0 right now in his professional career. Ben, if we can... Oh, we lost him. We're going to bring him, see if we can bring him back on. I'm excited to talk to... I'm excited to talk to Ben because this will be the first time that we'll have a fellow Canadian on the show. So I'll get to talk to him about that.
So are we going to understand your guys' accents? Like, are you going to turn into how when you're like in the country that you have the accent, right, like your accent gets thicker?
Well, his accent's going to be different from mine because I understand. I think he's from Alberta. Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Ben Tynan joining the show. Fight this weekend. How's it going, Ben? How are you ready for this weekend? Are you going to win?
Oh, am I going to win? You're talking to the champ, baby. Yeah, I'm going to win.
I was just saying before he came on, did we just lose him?
Hold on. I'm not with this technology. I'm terrible with the Google internet machine. Boom.
We can see you now. I was just saying before we brought you on, Ben. It's nice to talk to a fellow Canadian. I'm Canadian. You were the first Canadian we've had on the show. So welcome, the first ever Canadian fighter on Jab Cross Hook.
That's right. What part of Canada are you from?
Nova Scotia. I'm over on the East Coast.
Oh, Nova Scotia. Okay. All right.
Are you from Alberta, is it?
Yeah, like northern Alberta, like Fort McMurray, like
very
middle
nice.
Nowhere.
Very nice. There's
is
definitely
that the middle of Canada or the left of Canada? That's how I describe Canada.
It's west.
Yeah, it's left, but not all the way left.
Yes.
Okay. Leftish. Left adjacent.
Yeah.
I definitely know a lot of people from my hometown who moved out to Alberta to work in the oil rigs over there after high school. But you call yourself a Camerican. Are you living in the States now? Did you move there at some point? Tell me about that.
Yeah, actually, I'm a dual citizen by birth. So I'm a Canadian by soil and American by blood. So, but I know, technically I'm also Canadian by blood. My dad was from Canada and my mom grew up in Hawaii. He kind of met her on vacation and drug her to Canada, which is pretty impressive. So.
Yeah, from Hawaii?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big drag.
Yeah. The guy's got game, so.
Yeah.
And or Ben, I just want to ask you about kind of, you're new to the MMA game, obviously 1-0 pro record, several other amateur fights. I want to ask, what's like the one thing you've learned in your short career? Obviously still undefeated, a ton of early finishes. What's like the one thing you've learned that maybe was a little bit of a surprise to you kind of early on in your career?
Well, the hardest thing like that took me a while to kind of adjust to is like just kind of slowing the pace down. Mm-hmm. So like all my years in wrestling, I was always used to just like pushing things, just like pushing and just like being aggressive all the time. But then like kind of in fighting and striking, there's times where I got to, stay back, find some openings, pick some shots. And that was kind of like my main focus when I was training amateur for so long, is I didn't want to just be that guy who just dives on the legs and has to get a takedown no matter what. I want to be more comfortable standing up, and getting some knockouts in, because those are really fun. So
yeah, you say take your time. You've won every fight in the first round by finish. So you're still you're picking your spots, but you're picking them quickly and you're picking them effectively. So credit to you, and 100%. But I love to hear the mentality.
Yeah. And you have a background in wrestling, correct?
Yeah.
So when you transition to MMA, is that like, I notice you have a lot of amateur fights, which a lot of fighters don't have that many amateur fights. Like I see like they jump so fast. Like what was the thought process behind that? Why did you stay amateur so long? Was it to kind of make sure you were transitioned fully?
Yeah. It was like I was saying, I want to be more of a complete fighter, and I didn't want to just be the guy like, just diving on the legs at all costs. So like my fights end pretty quick, but I kind of like to think I'm not forcing the takedowns. I'm not trying to force the finish. They just kind of come as they come, and I just kind of take it. But I've got a couple knockouts in. I got a couple kickboxing matches in too, just, putting on the big puffy gloves. I get to play in the ring. Those only lasted one round too, but they were fun.
Now you had 7 amateur MMA fights, all the way, your first one dating all the way back to 2017. So amateur for quite some time. Was there a reason why you kind of took your time jumping over to the professional circuit? Was that on purpose, or is that just kind of the way things happen?
Yeah, I just want to get comfortable with my striking more. And then other things came up too. I was kind of a dumbass. I kind of tore my pec. So I had to that took off a year of training essentially, because I don't know, I tried to be a tough guy and I was like, it seems fine. And then, 5-6 months went by and it wasn't fine. So I had to bite the bullet, get surgery on it. And it was like my first major, I've never had a surgery or a serious injury before, but I don't know. I brought it upon myself. So that kind of definitely put a wrench in my training, but I don't know. I'm in no rush really.
You mentioned too, all of your fights are, I think all of them, first round finish. Is there any anxiety about going into the third round? I mean, even the second round at this point, is there, are you hoping for a fight that kind of is a war that you can prove to people, hey, I can do this too? Or are you I'm good with just first rounds, get in and out?
Yeah, no, I miss those wars. I know winning in one round and getting a cool finish is fun and all, but it's not as satisfying, those wrestling days. I remember there'd be matches where I'm about to die and give up, but I'm telling myself just keep going. And then I just feel the other guy just barely break and kind of give up. And I get that win. I get the one takedown. I could barely stand. Oh, it's the best feeling. So I do want a war eventually, because those are the most satisfying. But right now, I know it just sounds cool getting quick finishes. So I'll keep taking them.
Yeah, well, what about this weekend, LFA 133, going up against Trevor Wallace? Is this going to be a war or another first-round knockout? How do you see it going?
First round finish. First round finish.
So I want to know a lot, LFA is known for being a feeder league into the UFC. And a lot of times fighters are given sort of a little hint, hey, you win this one and the UFC is waiting for you. Have you been given that hint, or have they said, hey, you need 3, or are you at that point in your career yet to be talking going into the UFC?
I definitely plan on getting it. I just signed a 3-fight contract with LFA, so I was hoping to pump out these 3 fights within the next year, and then by then get a nice flashy 4-0 record, and then either jump on Uncle Dana's Contender Series or just wait for my moment. But yeah, I want to pump them out quick. I definitely want to be in the big leagues by next year.
Yeah, I think the Ultimate Fighter season that's going on right now is heavyweights. Obviously, you just had the one professional fight, but if that opportunity would have came up to join this season, is that something you would have jumped at, or would you rather get a few more professional fights to get a little bit more experience before making that jump?
Oh, I should have been on it. Damn it. I should have been on it. I blame the surgery. The surgery took out like a solid year, and then I had to like get back into like fighting shape, which took a while. Like, that damn surgery. I definitely would have loved to be on the Ultimate Fighter. I know. I love attention and cameras, so that would have been cool. And I like poking people's buttons, so I don't know. I feel like that would have been kind of fun. My teammate, though, he's on the show, and whoops some ass. Zach, I don't know how to say his last name. He's going to get ticked, but it's like Puaga.
I think it's Pagua. I don't know. I know who you're talking about.
Zach the
Pagua?
Ripper, though. Zach
Yeah.
the Ripper.
Yeah.
That's my boy. Yeah, we train all the time.
Has he talked to you at all about what it was like?
Oh yeah. I get plenty of stories from him and stuff like that. And Big Mo, he was training with us for a while too, so I know Mo pretty well. So it's kind of fun watching him on the show.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, I know. Dang it, I know. If only it was like 1 year behind. Oh, that would have been perfect. But oh well.
Tell me about your nickname. You have here in the stream Big Bad Vanilla, or you got Vanilla Thunder. I saw online. What was the start of that?
Yeah. No, I give myself a lot of nicknames. Like most of them I give myself. However, Vanilla Thunder was no teammate called me Vanilla Thunder all the time. Back when I was wrestling in college, and I remember like going like, damn, that sounds really cool. And then by the time, I started like, going to parties and stuff, people would always be all like, oh, what's your name? I'd always be that goofball who's all like, my name's Vanilla Thunder. And they'd always say, what's your real name? And I'm like, it's Vanilla. And so people just started calling me Vanilla all the time. So I was like, it's actually kind of cool. So yeah, if you go to Fargo, like all the people I like met, all my old teammates and friends, they only know me as Vanilla. So yeah.
So I saw, and maybe I'm not looking at the right thing, but did you go to Hanford High School?
Oh yeah, the school that outshines the rest.
Wait,
home
but
of
Hanford,
the mighty, home of the best.
Hanford, California? Oh, I lost him.
Nope.
Nope.
Now he's back.
Nope. Right at the
This
pivotal
is the best part
question.
about this technology. Oh,
Okay, wait. No.
he's working towards getting back.
Yep.
Now he's
Okay,
gone.
well, I scared him away with the Hanford question.
We'll see. We'll see if we can get him back. You have a connection to Hanford High School in California?
Yeah, but I want to make sure it's in California because Hanford is like this teeny. Okay, wait. Maybe.
Almost.
We can see his face.
It's frozen, but we can see our face.
Wait.
Yes,
yeah.
well, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Almost.
Okay, I think you're there. No, now he's on mute. Okay, wait. Can you hear us?
He's trying. He's definitely still here. He's trying.
We can see you now. We can't hear you.
Yeah. It's like one or the other. Nope. You there?
Oh, we got any sound there?
The picture's good now.
Technology.
I appreciate the effort if Ben could hear us right now.
Can you hear us?
He's saying something.
Yes, go Lee, exit completely out and then come back. Okay.
I will say I'm fascinated to hear if his like wrestling background, like if he always thought that like MMA was like kind of the path.
Yeah.
So obviously there's like a lot of background, a lot of transition, but like I wonder if like people get into wrestling so young now with the idea of getting into UFC. Because I mean Ben is, very young, so I wonder if that's like a background that he has.
Yeah.
Or at least like a goal from the beginning.
We'll see. I doubt it's California that's high school he went to, because it's page I'm looking at. He's born in Alberta, fights with Seattle, and went to North Dakota State.
Okay. Wait.
That would be wild if he ends up in California, though.
You never know.
Can you hear us, Ben?
No, we still can't hear you.
Somebody's sirens are going off.
Yeah, it's me.
New York. No, I'm never going to know the answer to the Hanford question. I won't sleep tonight.
And now he's frozen again.
I love that. No.
He's probably in the middle of nowhere in Washington or something right now.
He's
and
probably
he
in Hanford. Because if he's in Hanford, there's probably no internet there. That's why I want to know if it's Hanford, California. Anyways. All right.
One more try.
I hear it. I hear you guys.
There we go. We're back.
I can hear you guys.
Yay. Okay, wait. Hanford, California? No, I got to stop asking about Hanford. That's the key.
No.
No, we lost him again.
We had him for 3 seconds. 3 seconds and he was out.
Like I can see him moving, but now there's no sound. No. Can't hear him.
We lost the sound.
We fought.
The funny thing is, it's probably gonna not be Hanford, California, and then my story is like blown up. Everybody's sitting in their homes right now, like, what's gonna happen with Hanford, California? No. All right. Well,
I feel terrible for Ben giving us his time, and now he's just sitting here listening to us talk about it. He can't join in the conversation.
he wants to talk.
I don't know if he can hear us. Like
Sign language. I'm just kidding. I don't know sign language.
Ben, if you can hear us, give us a nod, because maybe you can hear us.
Can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
No, he can't hear us either. He's saying something.
This is amazing. This is the best interview ever. We're gonna win a Pulitzer for this.
Yeah. For the
can either of you read lips?
No, he's saying goodbye. I think.
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh.
Unfortunate end, but great interview.
Yeah. Dang, I was gonna ask about what it feels like to be a 700 favorite.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's a massive favorite this weekend.
Probably the first time he's fought in an event that has betting odds.
Ooh, that's true. Yeah, I wonder what that feels like to like put money on yourself.
Well, it didn't work out for.
I was gonna say, don't ask Eric Anders.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I asked every single fighter about betting, just strictly because of this podcast, and also because about 10 minutes before media day, they said that John Morgan wasn't going to be there, and he's always the one that asks the normal questions, and so we were all like, "Oh shit, what do we talk about?" So, I feel like I jinxed him there too, a little bit.
No, he may have jinxed himself. And he was an underdog for a reason. Me and Ian, we talked about it on the show 2 weeks ago now. I wasn't as bullish as Ian was on him. Ian also, I think, was a little intoxicated from the him saying he's going to bet on himself.
Yes. Yeah, I got seduced by him saying that. All right. So, I guess it doesn't look like Ben's coming back on. So we'll continue and jump into the draft. A couple of quick topics that we want to jump into, and then like I said, then we'll do the draft. Where are we at? Open scoring debate. The last fight, the last card that happened, we haven't had a show since, was Holly Holm and Vieira.
Yeah, Kaplan Vieira.
Close fight. A lot of people thought Holly Holm was robbed, and it brought up the debate that we have seen time and time again about open scoring. Any thoughts on if that would be a good thing, a bad thing?
I have thoughts. If you'd
Go
like.
ahead. I would love to hear them.
I think that there is no downside that I can think of to having open scoring, but there's so many things positive that could come of it. So I feel like, why not? I mean, we've already seen it in Kansas. We're seeing it working. We're seeing it happening. We're seeing that we haven't, as far as I know, there haven't been any issues. I think the only thing I saw, a friend of mine on Twitter had mentioned that perhaps open scoring could cause some of the corners or fighters to like get violent, which is weird because it's a fight, but like violent towards the judges in the middle of the round. And I don't think that's an issue because they could be violent at the end of the fight. Like it's not going to matter if they get angry at a judge, it's not going to change anything.
Right. That'd be like the same as any other sport. Like,
yeah,
players get mad at the referees and they're like, don't get mad at them. Like, you're just going to distract yourself from winning.
And there's heavy penalties to do anything to a referee as well. And I don't really know of very many fights nowadays where, if anything, where a judge has ever been like accosted after a fight or anything. I think people pretty much know like what they're getting themselves into, but I just don't see any downside to it. So like, why aren't we doing it? It's just old men that don't want to change their ways. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think I think that there should be open scoring, but almost to an extent. Like maybe not publicly recorded, but maybe you have to submit the scores in to maybe like no one knows it, but like an official scorekeeper or something. Like I do think that like
I already do that
after each round.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then maybe I'm just wrong here. But like I feel like I agree with kind of the concern that you brought up, Amy, where it's like people knowing the fighters knowing the score could influence how the fight is fought, which I think that's the spirit.
Yeah.
But so that's the spirit. And like I do agree with that sentiment. It's just that it's kind of getting a little out of control. I think it's more on the judges being better.
I totally agree with you there. Yeah, I agree that
I don't know if open scoring will necessarily get to the bottom of what we're trying to get.
No, the reason why people bring up open scoring is because they're saying then it's going to force, like in the last round, if you know that you're down and you know you're losing, then you're going to come out and fight more aggressively instead of sometimes, which we saw in that Holly Holm event, like she fought conservatively and like barely did anything because she thought she was winning. So it just turned it like it's a way to kind of combat boring fights, I think, is the
and it's a way to see how they're scoring because every judge is going to score differently.
That is true.
They need to be scoring the same. There are judges that are going to give more attention to striking and somebody's going to give more attention to jiu-jitsu. Like that's just how it is, and that's not right, but that's just how it is. And so they can see after the first round, and they're like, "Whoa, how did?" like, oh, that person won. Well, it's probably because they did XXX. Now I know I need to do XXX as well. So I think that, like I said, there's no downside to it, but it's not the end all be all either.
Doesn't it work both ways though? Like if someone knows that they're losing, but someone knows that they're losing, they're going to go forward or something. And if they think they're down like 2 rounds to none, they're going to go forward in the third. Whereas someone thinks they're up, or they know that they're down 2-0. Like to me, it's more like a guessing game. You should just always fight to fight. It kind of goes both ways. What if the person knew they were up 2 rounds to nothing? Then they're really not even going to try.
Yeah, but
that might be the argument against it.
That's more what I was trying. I just think the spirit. I understand what the spirit of open scoring would do, but I also think that there's like the other side, the downside of it, where if it's trying to combat boring fights, I feel like it could almost also bring up other boring fights that it's like the other end. So I don't know. I think that there is more. There's something to be said for the judging and maybe people knowing the actual scoring, but I don't think the fighter should know the rounds. I think that's kind of where you lose me.
Yeah, but also, could you imagine playing an NBA game and you don't know the score? It's a secret to the end.
Yeah, I think MMA is the only
like no other sport do you hide the score.
Yeah,
but don't you think it's more the judges than the process?
I think.
Well, I think that's a completely different topic.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think
you do agree with me though.
100%. I believe that the judges are an issue. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't see the Holly Holm fight either, so I can't say if it was correct or wrong. But I have seen fights where, like John Jones and Dominic Reyes, where I was certain Dominic Reyes won that fight, and then all of a sudden it's John Jones, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was on Reyes in that fight too, and I was going to do a victory lap because everyone was telling me I was an idiot for betting.
Yeah.
I think Invicta has tried open scoring though, have they? I'll admit I have not.
They've been doing it in Kansas. Yeah, Kansas does open scoring.
So what has been the kind of result of that? Do people like it, or
I haven't heard anything negative about it.
have you heard anything positive about it?
Yes. I've heard
Okay.
lots of people talking about how, how exciting it is to be able to see. I haven't talked to any fighters who have, who was it? There was somebody on Twitter recently, a fighter who posted something about how he lost his fight and it was a terrible decision and blah, blah, blah. And he listed, and I asked him, would open scoring have helped you? And he said yes.
There
So
you go.
Because he would have known that he was losing and he could go forward and stuff.
yeah.
But I just feel like to me, that's kind of a lame excuse because like you've never once in your life fought with open scoring. So like, why would you ever, you know what I mean? Like, I understand it would help you, but like you've been trained and you fought not to, like that's just like the rules.
I think
Right.
sometimes though, and I mean, I haven't fought, so I don't know. Amy, maybe you'll be able to speak to this in a few months, but I think sometimes when you're in the middle of a fight, literally a fist fight with another human being, if it's the third round, I think there's a part of you that doesn't like a voice in the back of the head that's telling you to not get super aggressive. And it's like, oh, we might be winning. Like, don't get super aggressive. Whereas if you look at the score and you're like, oh, I am literally losing this fight. If I don't finish it now, I will lose. Then it kind of erases that voice in the back of your head saying, oh, maybe the judges haven't scored for me. Maybe I don't need to try that hard.
Yeah.
But what if the person was down 2 rounds? I don't know. Listen, that's why it's a debate, right?
I'd like to see it tried. You don't have to make a full switch right away, but try for a couple cards.
I think I'm trying it is worth a shot.
Sure.
Like one UFC fight night card. Give it a shot, see how it goes. And if it goes bad, then it goes bad.
The UFC has proven that they don't necessarily like changes because for as long as I've watched UFC for 10 years, they should have been fix the gloves to fix eye pokes, and they just don't even change.
What about trying on Contender Series?
Yeah.
Once again, sure, but the UFC just
I'm saying you don't even need to
changes.
try it in like the high stakes fights. You could try it on like a lower level.
But it's not just the UFC. It's actually the commission, really. Because if the commission says this is what we're doing, the UFC doesn't have any say in that.
Right.
So if it's really the commission.
That's fair.
It's old men that don't want to change because if they change, it's them admitting that what they were doing before was not right in their brains. That's not the case, but in their brains, I think that's what they are trying to say is like, we're not going to let these young kids come in here and tell us how to do our job.
Yeah, it certainly could be part of it. Let's dive into the draft here because we are a little bit behind schedule.
Yeah,
here.
I'm excited. I have some good picks.
We don't want to go too long, so let's try the UFC Vegas 56 snake draft. For those of you watching who are new to this, it is a snake draft, and we draft fighters this weekend using the odds. So when a fighter is drafted, they are no longer eligible to be picked by anyone else in the draft. We do 3 picks each, and then at the end of the card, whoever finishes up the most units using the betting odds for each fight wins, and it's a snake draft. So whoever goes first goes 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Last time we did a show was just myself and Reed, I believe. So Amy, it's actually been a while, like 3 weeks now since you've been on a show technically.
Yeah.
With no show last week. We don't need to recap it too much because I think I went 0-3, so we don't need to dive into that. But
and
Reed,
I went 1 and 2.
1 and 2. So a couple losers on that card, but you were the smaller loser between me and you. So you get to pick the draft order.
Yeah, kind of in between 2. I'll go third. I'll let Amy go first. Ian, you could go second. I'll take the snake, so I'll go back-to-back picks.
Okay.
I want to see where you guys are thinking first because I'm a little all over the place this week.
All right, so let's dive into it. UFC Vegas 56 snake draft. Amy, you're officially on the clock.
Okay, so I am very happy that I got to go first because I was sure that this one was going to be the first one that we all picked. It is our first or second guest.
First guest member.
Yeah, and he killed it. It's got to be Jeff Molina. Come on, duh.
That was why I was gonna probably pick first. I wanted Jeff, but considerable favorite, so I laid off of it. But
friend of the program, not big favorite, but favorite. He should win. Of course, he was going to go first overall. No matter who was going to pick first, he was going to be taken first.
Yeah,
overall.
that's why. So I was very glad that I got to go first. That was a no-brainer.
I love Jeff. Like I think he's a lock this week, and I'm a bit. I will be on him. Maybe straight I'll lay it with him, but like definitely in parlays and stuff. Zumagulov, I just don't think he could. Like, where's he going to win this fight?
Yes,
No
I
way.
agree. Bias aside, I still think Jeff Molina is a good bet this weekend.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's my lucky.
That was an obvious first pick.
Yeah, there's a little peek. We saw a peek there at the odds for, I think, just the prelims, I believe.
Prelims, yeah.
All right, Jeff Molina off the board. That brings it to me. Which way do I want to go here? Let's jump right to the main event, shall we? Sorry, producers, I've once again forgotten to type in my pick. It seems like we all do that on our first pick of the draft. I apologize.
I did not.
Well done. 3 weeks away from the draft, and you still remember to type in your pick.
I forgot 2 of the 3 at least.
I'm going to go Jairzinho Rozenstruik plus 140 against Alexander Volkov in the main event. I'm going to go with the underdog. It's a heavyweight fight. Usually, I mean, it's a general strategy of just in a big heavyweight fight that's close, take the guy who can knock the other guy out. I mean, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. I think we're actually getting value on him because of that. But the 3 guys he lost to were, I think, inarguably the top 3 heavyweights in the division. Francis Ngannou, the champion, Cyril Gane, and Curtis Blades. So I think those would be the top 3 heavyweights, unless I'm forgetting someone. But he's 2-3. But like I said, against the 3 losses against the top 3 guys, he has 12 wins in his professional MMA career. 11 of them have come via knockout. And Volkov at times is susceptible to get touched in this fight. If you just get touched by Rozenstruik, that could be the end of it. So, and he has knockouts on guys who are a little bit more closer to Volkov's level. He has Tico wins over Augusto Sakai, Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem. Like, he's knocked out some big name guys. So I'll take Rozenstruik as an underdog here.
Are you concerned at all about the size? Because that was something that we kind of touched on at Media Day about how much bigger, oh my gosh, Alexander is. Mm-hmm. Because like when you're heavyweight, it's rare to have somebody that's like much, much bigger than you, but he is like considerably bigger. He mentioned bringing in some people to kind of mimic him, so doesn't seem concerned about it, but I'm wondering if that's something you thought about at all when making your pick.
No. Bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Alrighty.
Or more realistically, bigger they are, the quicker they get tired. Sometimes I don't know if that doesn't necessarily work for Volkov, but
yeah, because he's not like fat; he's tall.
No, it does not.
Like, let's slow down on the UFC heavyweight main events. Like, I just these fights just don't do it for me. Like a pay-per-view, sure, when you got like the elite of the elite, but like, why does every heavyweight top 10 matchup have to be a main event?
Knockout sell.
And like sometimes they're just like staring contests for 25 minutes.
That's the issue. If it's not a knockout, they're usually pretty boring.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like if you get like a featherweight, lightweight matchup, you get like at least you're getting action. That's how I see it.
I don't necessarily disagree with that opinion. Heavyweight's lower to sell though. Even just the word heavyweight,
people are they're always like their eyes attract like the bigger guys going at it and stuff like that. And they always think it's more intriguing. So
that's always, and this is a whole separate conversation I could go on about, but that's a big reason why some of the lighter weight classes like flyweight and bantamweight actually like have issues kind of marketing themselves and selling tickets because idiots, and I don't agree with this, but idiots will see guys who are like 5'6" and be like, oh, I can beat up those guys. Whereas, you look at you can't say that looking at a guy who's 6'3" and 200
exactly like
this guy is a monster. Yeah. Right. So there is that kind of image that does unfortunately play a role in it as well.
Yeah, totally. But I got my 2 picks in. All
right.
Make this short and sweet. So I got one favorite, one underdog on my snake. So first we'll do the favorite. Ode Osborne will be my first pick. This is just a complete mismatch in my opinion. Osborne, he's lost to fighters better than him, like Manuel Cape, but he's being up on lesser competition. He has 8 inches of reach against his opponent. Adeshev's only win was against Ryan Benoit, the UFC. Benoit's lost 6 of 8. So that's not like an impressive win to me, where Osborne, he has the experience at the UFC. He has a significant reach advantage. I just think that this is going to be an easy win. Similar to the Jeff Molina pick, I'll go with Ode Osborne as, a pretty considerable favorite. I think that, there's just not a lot of avenues for Adeshev to get a victory here. As Ian, I imagine, talking to his cat.
Yeah.
No, I at the messaging thing, we use to message the producers. I don't have on this computer, so I had to whip up my laptop so I could.
Okay, got it.
I actually have Ode on my my list as well. I think that was a good pick. He's at Media Day. He seemed like he kept kind of saying like he's a new man. He talked about how he had a coach that died, and he was able to kind of work through that. And he says that he feels like he has a lot of weight lifted from his shoulders, and he feels like he's ready to have fun again. And I feel like that's kind of a dangerous mindset to have.
I always love Amy will like come in with like analysis of the pick with like, yeah, I just saw these guys like 6 hours ago. They told me like that, this, and that. I'm like, all right, great. Like, thank you.
You guys, I just have to say, I asked Dan Ige if he's ever pooped in his bed because we were interviewing him in the middle of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp verdict. And it was just on my mind. And I like legitimately asked him if he'd ever pooped his bed.
Did you preface the question with what, like, about the Johnny Depp situation?
Well, somebody had just asked. Somebody had just asked if he'd been watching and like what he thought of it, and so then I was just. But I literally I didn't ask anything at all media day. That's like literally the only thing I asked. So
what he said? Has he ever?
He said no, and he said his wife has not either. So
okay,
they're a very well-adjusted couple.
Shout out Mrs. Ige.
All right, let's bring up the round one graphic. Quick little recap of the first round. I think 2 favorites and 1 underdog. Amy took, of course, the guy who was always going to be the number 1 overall pick. Near and dear to our hearts, Jeff Molina minus 185. I went to the main event, took Jair Rosenstruck plus 140, and then Reed coming with O'Day Osborne minus 195. So some sizable favorites from you two. Especially Amy, who, of course, we all love Jeff Molina, but Amy, this goes against your usual strategy of picking underdogs. So we'll see what happens there. Before we get your...
Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Before we do get to your next pick, Reed, I do want to shout out Serial Chiller in the chat who brought I think put this in when we were interviewing Ben. Dustin Jacoby, lock him in. Obviously still available on the board. None of us have taken him. We will see if anyone takes him. So there you go. Dustin Jacoby. Is he fighting this weekend?
No.
Why have I not seen that?
He's not.
Lock him in.
I was like looking and I was like,
Lock him in.
Unless he's like a late, maybe they think we're doing, I don't know. Let's see when he's fighting next. He just fought, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he may have lost. I don't even remember. He fought on the prelims of one card.
He's scheduled to fight July 16th on UFC on ABC2 against Da-Un Jung. So we're locking him in a month early.
All right, get in before, get some CLV with you. Take him now a month and a half out.
Burner account probably.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm bored. Let's get my name in here.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I saw that and I just assumed he was fighting, but then as I was saying, I was like, I don't remember seeing his name. All right, Reed, let's start off with the second round. Who's your second overall pick?
Yeah, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go on the prelims this time. Nicholas Stoltz. We'll see how I spell it, but yeah, kind of think we're getting good value here on Stoltz. He's lost his last 2 fights against a superior grappler in the first one. Then he was knocked out by Jared Gooden in like 2 minutes. I watched the fight, just got tagged. Wasn't like a beatdown or anything. He just got caught and, Gooden kind of pounced him. So I'm not going to like overreact or anything. Guy's facing Benoit St. Denis. Don't know why he's a favorite. He deserves nothing. With all due respect, he got his ass handed to him. What was that?
You just said he deserves nothing.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked his last time out against Dos Santos. People were calling for the fight to be called early. Ended up losing by decision. Not sure why he's a favorite. I just think that Stoltz is more. I think he has a grappling advantage. I kind of like Stoltz here. I think bigger fighter, has 2 inches of reach, capable grappler. I like him as an underdog.
All right, we'll see about that.
Are you gonna take St. Denis now? Like back right after this?
No, not right now. At least we'll see what happens in the final round. But I'm going to go with and let's hear how I pronounce this last name. And this is the last name I've heard a million times. I've never been able to figure it out. Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Kowalkiewicz.
That's how I say it.
Sounds like an Australian like creature in the forest.
Yes, like an evil.
Or
a Polish UFC fighter.
Kowalkiewicz. I don't know.
Good enough for me. She is a slight underdog, plus 100 against Felice Herrig. This is actually a rematch of a fight that happened back in 2018. Carolina won this fight via split decision, and she outstruck Herrig by final count of 126-86. So outstruck her by 40, won the fight, but is now an underdog 4 years later. I think why she's an underdog is because Carolina has gone 0-5 since that win. Not a great stretch, but to be fair, much like Rosenstruck, she's fought much better competition during that stretch. And also Felice Herrig, this is the first time that she is fighting since 2020 or 2019. So it's been a couple of years since she's fought as well. But I mean, rematch fights, I've talked about this before. I've looked into it. It is a long-term profitable betting strategy to bet on the winner of the first fight when two fighters have a rematch. So I'm just going to follow that strategy again. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, plus 100.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on this one, so I'll defer to you. But I know you've told me about that strategy; it's paid off. So I kind of, blindly, I like that.
All right, sounds good. Amy, bring home round 2. Who do you got for your second pick?
Okay, well, you mentioned I like my underdogs.
Yes.
I believe I'm going with the biggest underdog on the card, Dan Argueta. He is a tough veteran, LFA champion, taking the fight on 5 days' notice, I believe.
Plus 410. Wow.
Yeah, here's why I'm taking him.
Maybe to just go for one, try and win the whole
just
thing.
go for the kill shot in one fight.
Yeah, kill shot. That's going to be my fight name, Amy Killshot Kaplan.
Boom. I like that a lot.
I like it. Okay, sorry. He is coached by one of my former trainers from way back when, who also was Tony Ferguson's coach for many years, from, I believe, Tough until right about the time he won the interim title, and then he kind of went downhill after that. He left that coach at the same time that he went downhill. I'm just saying. Okay. This guy has a good team behind his back. He is confident. That's one thing I think that, you have guys that I feel like are confident, and then there's cocky, and then there's pretend confident. He is confident. He is talented, and I don't know. I believe in him. And I'm surprised to see him as such a big underdog. I know it's because of the short notice. I'm sure he's undefeated. I think his only loss is that in Tough, which doesn't technically count. Yeah, I think he should not be I think he should be an underdog because of the short notice, but not as big of an underdog as he is. So
yeah, that's
whole money on him too.
Oh,
I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
All right, I like it. Plus 410. I don't have too much to say about that. I respect it. I respect the shot. Reed, do you have any thoughts on that?
Good handicap with the coaching. I can can't hate on that. I mean, listen, you're taking a guy plus 410. You don't have to expect much. You know what I mean? Things happen. So I'm with it. Yep. I hope for our sake, though, Ian, that Amy doesn't win on one, because I'm pretty sure it should be over. Draft would end right there. But yeah,
I think go 3-0, and I'd probably still not be able to. Maybe it'd be close. All right, let's bring up the recap graphic after round 2. Reed back on an underdog. Stoltz plus 130. I will try to pronounce his name one more time. Kowalkiewicz plus 100, and then Argueta.
Yeah.
Plus 410. Amy made up for taking a minus 180 favorite to take the biggest underdog, and yes, I did double check. The biggest underdog on the board in this card. So there you go. Let's dive into the third and final round. It's a snake draft. Amy, you have the first pick of the last round.
And my underdogs keep rolling in. I am going with yet another Dan. Going with Dan doesn't poop the bed, Ige.
Oh my God, the underdogs.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I think it's time for him to prove what we all think and know of him, but he hasn't quite shown. He is, I don't know. I put a lot of emphasis on him. I'm surprised he's this big of an underdog. There was quite a bit of controversy about his opponent. I believe I hope I'm throwing the right guy under the bus. There was a guy, no, I'm not sure. There was a guy who had a cooked record on this card. I believe that's his opponent. So I do
No,
just
I think it's
the other
Masraha.
guys.
He's facing Alonzo Manyfield.
Okay, then scratch that. But yeah, that we should have talked about that guy though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's something in me that's I got my Dans today. This is my Dan card. So I got 2 Dans.
Big underdog, bold strategy. I don't hate it. I thought about taking Dan Ige, but
This is
tough.
like, I feel like the type of time you want to bet on Danny Ige, like when he's like a big underdog, he has knockout power and stuff like that. Like he's lost the last few fights against a pretty elite competition as like near favorite, slight underdog, moderate favorite. Now he's like a huge dog against Iloviv. I definitely said that wrong, but that's a big price for someone who's only a minus 200 favorite in his last fight against Hakeem Dawad, who I think Dan Ige is maybe a little bit better. So I think I might bet on Dan Ige myself. He was on my board.
I'm not going to bet on Dan Ige. My issue with him in this fight is that his wrestling is of Loev guy. Averages like over 4 takedowns a fight. I think he took down Hakeem Dawodu like 9 times or 7 times or something in his last fight. And Dan Ige doesn't exactly have the best wrestling defense in the world. So I think that's why it's a steep price. But if he can defend the takedown, he has a real chance to win this fight. Just I don't know if he can.
I feel like since I asked him about poop, I have to like put him on my board.
You owe it to him.
This is my apology. If you're watching, Dan, for my inappropriate question, you are now on my board. Don't lose.
All right, my final pick. We are going to talk about this fight that you were alluding to earlier. I'm taking Alonzo Manyfield minus 175 against Askar Mazharov. It's funny that you said that this Maskarov guy has a cooked record, because I didn't even know that was like a rumor going around, but I looked into his record, and right here in my notes, I wrote down, like, are we sure that this guy belongs in the UFC? He's 21-11, and his last 3 wins have come against absolute tomato cans. Their records are, one guy had a losing record of 20-24, and then a 5-1 guy and a 14-10 guy. And the last time that this Askar guy fought in North America was for a Titan FC event, and he lost via first round TKO against a guy who's now 15-12. Like, why is this guy in the UFC? Like, this guy does not seem good. Usually when they bring these guys, especially from like international, like from like Russia and from these other countries, like they're undefeated, they only have a couple losses or on this massive win streak. This is a guy who's 21-11 is only on a 3-fight win streak, and those fights have been against tomato cans. And he's the only time he's fought in North America, he got his ass kicked. I don't get it.
Yeah, there's definitely something fishy going on for sure. There was if you look on SureDog, Jay Petty, sorry, I think it's Jay Petty, wrote a piece really in depth about it. Jay is one of the guys that's in charge of keeping track of all people's records. And he has, so much evidence about him and teammates and coaches and managers sending him or sending SureDog information to try to change things. And I guess he changed his name at one point to kind of get like almost a whole new record, sort of start fresh. He did kind of address it at Media Day in a roundabout way, sort of just saying, "Oh, I fought in China and I don't know." And it's fishy. I gotta believe that somebody's doing someone a favor by putting him in there.
So you also think Manyfield's gonna, because like Manyfield might not be like a contender or anything, but like guy could knock people out real quick. Amy, you would say that like he's probably way overqualified to face this guy.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I can't safely say that. I didn't take a good look at who he on record has fought, but even who on record he's fought, I'm like, did he really fight that person?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like, they were sending, SureDog was saying that they were sending photographs of different people pretending to be him, saying, "Oh, this win was his," and it wasn't his. And it's like, so I don't know if any of the fights on his record are accurate. So I want to see this fight, which is why I stayed away from this fight. I want to see how he fights, and from there, that's his record to me. How he performs from here on out, because there's no way you can cook anything from here on out.
Yeah, something ain't right. I'll take Manyfield. Only minus 175 too, and I might place a very large bet on it too. We'll see. But also, last time I placed a large bet, when was that? What fighter was that? I forget who it was. I made like a 5-unit play or something, and it lost.
It was one of the women fighters on like a prelims of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was tough. So maybe I shouldn't do that again. But go ahead, Reed. Bring us home your final pick of the draft.
Yeah, last one. Another prelim underdog, Johnny Munoz, going up against Tony Graverly. I just think this is a bad matchup for Graverly. If it goes to the decision, maybe it's Graverly's fight. Maybe that's why he's favored. But if you look at this specific matchup, Munoz is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. He's 11-1 of 7 submissions. Graverly, he has 5 submission losses. So if this hits the mat, I think that Munoz is going to look like a big favorite here. I just think, if he could get a submission, I'll take him as a small underdog. Why not? And it seems like the lines makers, Graverly was minus 200 last time out. Now he's only minus 135 against Munoz. Seems like odds makers are kind of respecting Munoz. I respect Munoz. I'm going to take him. Plus 110. Sorry, not plus 115. But yeah, that's my last pick.
I have no opinion on that fight. Amy, do you have anything to add?
I don't know.
Were they at media day today?
I'm sorry?
Were either of them at media day today?
No, just main card. Yeah,
Okay.
so he's not on the main card, right?
No, they're prelims.
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps up the draft. Let's bring up the final graphic here to recap everyone's picks. Amy going Jeff Molina, Dan Argueta, Dan Ige, a couple of massive underdogs on Amy's card. I'm going with 2 underdogs and a favorite, Rosa Struik plus 140, Kowalkiewicz. Yes, that sounds right. I think that's right.
Kowalkiewicz.
Plus 100, and then Minifield minus 175 against a guy who potentially might have a cooked record. And then Reed Wallach doing Ode Osborne minus 195, following it up with 2 underdogs, Stolce plus 130, Munoz plus 110. All right, final thoughts. Shout out to Ben. Thank you for Ben for coming on the show, even though we lost his audio there.
He just messaged me and said, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Obviously, I told him it's no big deal. And I said, was it Hanford, California? We'll see if he replies back before the end of the stream. You're all...
The mystery that's keeping everyone on the edge of their seats.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have him back on the show someday when he makes the UFC here in a year.
Yeah.
Going to go 3-0 on his LFA contract, make the UFC, we'll have him back on.
I predict he's not going all 3 fights. Not as a heavyweight. If he wins this fight, especially in the first round, I think Dana's yanking his ass over to the UFC.
Only 2 professional fights, though. You don't normally. I don't know if I've ever seen
heavyweight.
We were just talking about
heavyweights. They need heavyweights.
All right.
I mean, maybe not because of tough, but I think. Yeah, I don't think he's going 3.
Reed, any final thoughts?
No, just happy we get a show and get a draft in, and give me something to bet on Saturday. It's typically how my schedule works, like what I'm betting on this day and that day.
And as we enter the dog days of summer, it is full-on UFC season.
Oh, yeah.
For us. Obviously, the NHL and NBA will wrap up here in the next couple of weeks, and then it's full-on UFC, so I'm excited for that. Big card here. I don't think is it next weekend is a big pay-per-view? I think it is. Yes. 2 title fights. The return of Yorny and Jacek.
The card this week is in the morning. I believe 9 a.m. Pacific time start time, something like that.
What?
Make sure you guys wake up early.
Yeah, have your bets in night before. You don't want to oversleep on those.
What? Why? Yeah, it is early. Why is it early? I did not know that.
They do that every now and again, and personally, I love it when they do that because then they can actually go out on a Saturday night. I won't actually be at this card. I have to go out of town, but I will be at Media Day, and I'll be streaming that if you guys want to check in Friday for that. Yeah.
Love it.
I love early morning cards.
Did Ben respond?
No, and I'm like sitting here. He hasn't read it. He's left me unread at the moment.
The mystery will remain unsolved. Yeah. Maybe we'll find out the answer. Tune in next week to find out if he went to this random high school in California. All right, that's our show. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube and all that good stuff. Good luck with your picks this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week for UFC 275? 6?
56.
Oh, 56.
No.
No, it's not.
Wait, what?
275.
275. I got it right.
UFC Vegas. I was like, what? Sorry.
275 next week.
Tune in next week, and I said it right the first time for UFC 275. It's a stacked card. We'll talk to you then. Good luck.